everyone. Welcome back to the DCU Soccer Podcast. I'm joined by a special guest, Sarah. Do you want to introduce yourself again?
Hey Ken, thanks for having me on the show again. This is Sarah Kalassi, the editor-in-chief over at MLS Female and your DC United beat reporter. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, you're back on the show. It's been a couple weeks since we've done one. I've been kind of busy with a couple of different things, but yeah, do you also want to maybe, talk a little bit about some of the articles you've written recently? Maybe some, not, too much detail if you can't, but some stuff about what you might be up to later in the year?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just been working on a lot of fresh features for everyone over at MLS Female. If you haven't been over to the site recently, definitely go check it out. We put a bunch of brand new articles up yesterday. They're ready, they're waiting for you. I've just been covering our matches as we've gotten down to our playoff push. And DC United has clinched a playoff spot, which is fantastic. Are you excited, Ken? I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. And now we've got to aim for the home playoff game. I really, really want to see another playoff game at Audi Field.
I'm ready, and I'm going to knock on wood over here. So sorry for the noise, but we're going to hope that it doesn't end the same way it did last season.
Yeah, totally. Were you at the Columbus game last year?
I was there actually in the stands last year. I was wearing my newborn son in his carrier, and it was an incredible experience. The atmosphere was amazing. I'm sure you know that. And then it was absolutely devastating.
Yeah, it was right at the end there. There was like a super excitement when we were able to equalize, and then yeah, the penalties. Um, but yeah, I mean that game was probably the loudest. I mean, definitely the loudest I've heard Audi Field. It was literally like shaking, and everyone was, really connected, and it was really awesome. I really want to see that again.
It was such a beautiful vibe from the fans, wasn't it? Just to see all the supporters up on their feet and feel that energy. I really have missed that. And I do kind of feel like we're getting back to it again. Definitely our match on Sunday night had a little bit of that vibe coming back. So I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean we've now won three in a row, and I think we've also kept three clean sheets. So
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, I think a lot of the vibes are kind of correcting themselves, and I think even some of the players talked about before that impact game that they kind of had a final clearing the air session, and seems to be that they've changed their mentality and stuff like that, and that's really what a lot of like sports and life is. It's really having the right mentality to get stuff done.
I can't agree more. And we have such a quality team. We have such talented players that it's wonderful to see them succeed. And that's what we want, right? We want to see them out there doing their best. And I feel as the mentality of the team has changed and the season has gone on, we've definitely seen particular players really blossom and come into their own. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Ken.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's definitely, I think, even from the outside, you can kind of tell that like a lot of the players have learned a lot, not necessarily just about, stuff on the field, but maybe like relationship building, leadership, stuff like that, and kind of how to deal with recovering from a pretty awful summer.
Is this the Ameriqua effect? I don't know. The mental strength league coming to play at Audi Field and at DC United.
I mean, it totally could be. I mean, I know that, every time he comes on too, that people kind of go wild on Twitter and in the stands a little bit. So, yeah, I'm hoping that we can bring him back around for another year too.
I know. DC United, if you're listening, you need to sign Quincy to the contract for 2020. I think we should just make that a hashtag, Quincy 2020, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I'll tweet it. Why not?
I mean, we got Assad back, so why not?
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't think we've even talked about that yet on this podcast, but yeah, we're bringing Emil Assad back. There was some talk of him playing for Loudon, but that will not happen, unfortunately, because I really, really wanted to see Emil Assad against USL defenders. But yeah, he'll be back in for next season, and I think he's back in Argentina right now, getting his fitness up for like for match fitness. But yeah,
I think, Ken, we have some jerseys to buy.
yeah, we definitely promised that we would buy some Emil Assad jerseys. So as soon as they have them, I'm going to. I cannot find any ones from last season that are not like $500 because they're signed. So yeah, and I'm also wondering what his number will be because Griffin Yount started wearing the 22, and that's what Emil Assad's number was. So I don't know if Assad claims that number back or if yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen there.
It's going to be interesting for sure. I'm excited to see him back, though. He's such a bright and sunny presence and absolutely fierce on the pitch. So can't wait to have you back, Emil. I hope you're listening.
I really wanted a Loudon Emil Assad jersey though, to be honest, because I think that would be super cool and kind of one of those like weird rare things to have. But yeah, I mean, I really want Quincy to come back. I think it would be even cool if he got playing time at Loudon, even if it's just for like a game or two for kind of fun. I'm sure he'd be up for it, but I would also like an Ameriqua Loudon jersey.
I would definitely agree with you. I would buy that. You can put me on record as saying that.
So now you have a backlog of jerseys,
I
and
do. They just need to sell them, Ken. I'm ready.
yeah, a lot of the jerseys are actually for the current year are 40% off. Did you notice that?
I did not.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's still happening, but for a long time they were like selling them at deep discounts. So I'm guessing that we might have a new home jersey next year, um, which might be kind of cool.
I'm ready. Let's do that.
I still want the pink away jersey. I think that would be the coolest. The I guess they call it like the cherry blossom, but um,
That
I
was
don't
a
know.
beautiful design. I really wish they would have even brought that in for maybe a training top for the cherry blossom night at Audi Field. That would have been great.
Yeah, I mean anything other than those awful camo ones, to be honest. They're terrible.
You know, the one I wasn't a really big fan of was the one for 4th of July.
Oh yeah, that one was worse.
That
Yeah.
reminded me of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like early 90s. I felt like we needed a windbreaker with that pattern on there.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like bright or vibrant. It was like dingy and like felt gray, but I don't know. It was like super non-saturated colors. It was not fun to look at.
No, it kind of actually just made me dizzy, and you couldn't really even see the team crest. You couldn't see anything on the jersey well.
I'm definitely pro making like crazy like out of the box like even like neon jerseys or something or training tops whatever because like I think that'd be super unique and I think they would sell a lot of those.
This is why I always love goalkeeper kit. They always have the most fabulous jerseys.
Yeah, and we have the best goalkeepers, so it's a perfect match.
Clearly, Bill Hamid.
Who actually played incredibly well in the last couple games, but especially that Seattle game we just completed.
Oh my gosh, it was great to just see Bill make everything look so easy. I think I even put it up in my match tweets. It's like, well, another save for Bill, and he made it look like no sweat.
Yeah, he's been kind of crushing it. I think the defense has been doing better as well for him. They had a couple chances that were pretty decent, but Bill Hamid, I mean, he kind of just handled them without really sweating too much, to be honest. But that's kind of his thing, and I think we would be a much different team if we didn't have him.
He definitely brings that very steadfast, focused personality to the field. So, no, definitely agree with you there. What do you think of Russell Canouse in that new position?
I mean, he's been killing it. I mean,
Oh,
our
yeah.
back line has been looking a lot more solid defensively. Um, and he's someone who's been even when he was playing in the midfield, like, he's kind of able to get around and disrupt passes and everything like that. And he's been kind of crushing it there.
I absolutely love seeing him play that position. It's really exciting. So, and it was definitely great to just really focus in and watch him during that Seattle match. He's not letting anyone get past.
Yeah, he's incredibly solid defensively. And he has played that position before, so it's not totally new for him. But yeah, I mean, I think it kind of seemed like what is Ben Olsen doing, but now it kind of looks like Olsen might be a genius in that regard.
His instincts during the Seattle match were spot on. I know we always kind of go off about late substitutions or no substitutions, but I felt that every single sub he used had such an impact on the match, and it was just the timing was perfect. And he really was able to help preserve the guys for the upcoming match against the New Jersey Red Bulls. Sorry, New York Red Bulls. So
Hmm.
it was great to see.
Yeah, totally. I've kind of, there's a lot of people talking about keeping Leo Hara and Acosta on the bench, and I've been very vocal about saying that I'm very much for keeping Canals and also Ulysses Segura in the starting 11, to be quite honest, which gets mixed reactions. But I think if anything that this game proved is that Segura is like really really good, and I think he's underrated. Not only by our fans, but like in the league, to be quite honest.
Segura is probably the most underrated player right now. He was absolute fire in that match. I couldn't believe the footwork and the maneuvering he was doing. I was like, is this even the same player that we saw last season? Because he's one of those I mentioned earlier. He's come into his own and he's fantastic.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he's been a part of a lot of the goals that we've scored this year, and I mean, you could argue, Acosta has more talent or whatever, or this and that, but I think right now with the way we're playing, that I think we have the right personnel on the field. I think we have the players who are working the hardest and kind of doing what they've been told to do by the coaching staff, and I think that goes a long way because if you have someone on the field who's not playing, in the system or not doing potentially their part, or you have to kind of work around their deficiencies in terms of work rate or defensive ability or whatever. Kind of hard to get those wins.
Absolutely. And I mean, we call it the 11 for a reason. It takes 11 players to move that ball around the field, and it takes 11 players to do the work, and they have to work together.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like you also mentioned, the subs that came in were well timed and did make an impact. And I think they were the right, pretty much can't argue with with any of them or anything like that.
I mean, we gave Quincy Amarikwa a good 20 minutes to get in the heads of Seattle. We brought in Boateng, we brought in Acosta just at that right time. We had fresh legs, we had huge talent. I mean, I can't say enough. I was so impressed and a little shocked too to see early subs.
Yeah, for real. That has definitely not been a hallmark of our season. But yeah, I mean, I thought getting Acosta in to keep him kind of bought in a little bit, potentially going into this hopefully long playoff run, and having him, as bought in as you can, um, might be something that gives us long-term benefits, not necessarily in this game, but maybe thinking a little longer ahead. So I thought that was good. We saw Boateng come out for a little bit, and yeah, I mean, I was also extremely impressed with Lucas Rodriguez again. I think
Oh my
he's
gosh.
definitely lock for next year, in my opinion. Hopefully, if we can. I know there's a lot of variables and stuff and deals and whatever, but I really, really enjoy watching him play.
He's such a talent and he is so enjoyable to watch. Every single match he goes out there with that passion and that fire and just the skill. He's one of those players. He has a charisma to his playing style.
Yeah, I don't know what his fee would be, but at this point, I think it's going to be him coming back, and I don't think Leo Hara is going to be getting the call back, considering his fee is pretty high and he's not really being utilized anymore by the coaching staff.
Yeah, we can start a GoFundMe, I think, for Titi. I would do it.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't bring Acosta back, and the front office seems to think that he is a replacement or something like that, I think we're definitely going to see him come back. And I think he's also like, kind of similar to what you mentioned, but he's definitely grown a lot and kind of gotten used to the league, I think, um, during the season, and it's been really impressive.
And TT definitely has the talent to pull it off. So I would love to see him stay. And I'm really hoping that during our playoff run, which again, fingers crossed, knock on wood, is very long, that Acosta has the chance to really prove himself and showcase his ability as a top quality player so that he does get the kind of transfer he might want.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not too confident about that one, but I do have like I'm wondering if, Darby might be semi-interested in, trying to bring him in and bringing back the Lucharu magic. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of not convinced that he's going to find a top level club that's going to really want to take, too much of a look at him, to be honest, at this point. Especially with some of the body language that we see on the field. While not maybe not malicious or whatever, but it does not always come off as that good.
And I think this is where sometimes it's difficult to be a person that's extremely passionate and wearing your heart on your sleeve, which I think is pretty much his case. You know, he has so many emotions and so many feelings, and he's so passionate about the game. And I think sometimes, like all of us, it gets the best of him.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's been a positive like experiment to keep him out of the starting lineup for now, to be honest. And I mean, we've proven that we can score. I think, if this game and last game against Portland, these are two pretty solid teams in the West. They're not, you know, they're not Cincinnati, for example. So these are solid teams that we're able to score against, and really, I mean, if you look at it, the away game at Portland, we really did score two goals. One was, incorrectly, I guess, not counted, but we really did score two goals, and we did it away, and I think that's really big.
Can we have a discussion about the goal line technology, the use of VAR? Because that is so frustrating.
Yeah, it's quite bad. I mean, I didn't even realize that we didn't have goal line technology, to be honest. I guess I've never really thought about it either. But yeah, I mean, even in the camera angles that were presented, I think it's pretty obvious that it's in the goal.
What's so upsetting about this is we all want MLS and soccer in the United States to advance and to get to the next level of professionalism on the world stage, right? And if we're not going to use existing technology to make our matches as accurate and fair as possible, how can we expect to compete?
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is pretty basic stuff for a while now. And even if we didn't have the goal line technology, like we have VAR, like this is seems like one of the things that it's supposed to be used for, and not some other stuff that it's being used for, to be honest. Like this is a very like I think a great example of what would have been a good use of VAR.
Absolutely. No, and we should have used it. And I think too, it would have definitely helped DC United. I mean, you win that match 2-up, and at least one of them is your own goal, not scored by the other team. You feel better about it. You have some more confidence. It boosts morale. It's better. And it actually, in the stats, is going to showcase the quality of the team.
Yeah, and I think it's also concerning because we are potentially, I mean, at this point, not maybe not necessarily, but um, the Toronto FC is pretty close to us, and if we end up tying them, it would come down to goal differential. I mean, even the Red Bulls at this point, honestly, like that extra goal could be the difference between a home match and an away match for our playoff game, and that's a difference potentially of an MLS Cup or not, and that's very very frustrating. So it's even beyond the fact that we didn't win that game by two, we went up by one. It's also like this could have a real impact on the season on our club, and like it's not cool.
Absolutely. And this goes back to as well the decisions sometimes made by pro referees where they come back after the fact and say, oops, we're sorry, we made a mistake. But there are things that affect standings, things that affect the entire season. So we have to do better. We don't have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times they've had to apologize to us, but I think if you're getting to the like third or fourth apology, it's kind of like okay, like I don't care. Like I mean, if you had a friend that kept doing the same thing to you and then just kept saying sorry, you don't believe that they're sorry, right? You don't think that they're actually sorry. You just think that they don't care or that they're just trying to sweep it under the rug, like or dismiss it, right? Like it's not really an apology after the third or fourth time.
Right. The words don't mean a thing. It's the action that means something.
Yeah, and like I get it. Referees make mistakes. It's incredibly hard. VAR people will make mistakes too, because at the end of the day, it is people there. They have video, but like they still have to make the decisions. And like I get that there's gonna be mistakes, but if Taylor Twellman on I think Taylor Twellman was calling that, I think. But if he can be like, yeah, I just pulled up the replay and it's an obviously a goal, I think that they can do that as the video review referees, and we shouldn't need to rely on the commentator who's also commentating to be able to make that call, honestly. So yeah, it's not good. And the real issue here is that there's not accountability. Like, I mean, as far as we can tell, we've had referees who they've apologized for, but then they're the full referee again for another match, and it's like, okay, but like, what are we doing to fix it? Like, again, like if it's your friend and they keep saying sorry, at some point you're gonna be like, okay, that's fine, but like, what are we doing so this doesn't happen again? Like, if the answer's I don't know, well, whatever. Like, no, that's not acceptable.
Exactly. What actionable steps are we going to take to help mitigate this?
Yeah. So anyway, I was really frustrated about that one.
Me
It's
too. It's okay.
it's a while, not a while ago, but it's enough time, but I'm still really frustrated about that. And I think we've been disproportionately affected by bad calls. I mean, even that one TT Rodriguez penalty that they called on him for, I
Oh,
guess,
that was
running.
ridiculous.
I've never seen anything really like that. Um, I think that one especially, like to me, if I was a player and that was happening, like I'd be like, why am I playing here? Like I can't even run. Like I like what am I doing?
That's where you just hang up your cleats and you just put your head in your hands and say, there's no point.
Yeah, like it's just it's very frustrating.
Oh
But
man, I'm getting mad now just thinking about that again.
yeah, I saw the replay of it recently, so it all came rushing back to me.
Okay, we're not going to think about that right now. We have to look forward.
We do. We actually, so yeah, we just defeated Seattle. I think everyone thought that was going to be a really really hard game, and I think it was relatively even matched. But like I think we were one step ahead of them kind of in the whole game. Um, a lot of Seattle fans are actually saying Ben Olsen outcoached our coach and all this stuff, which so I've seen a few tweets about it, like you
Ben
know
Olsen watched the tapes and knew what to
yeah.
do. Yep.
Yeah. So I thought that that's interesting to see how the Olsen out folks think about that. But I mean, it kind of did seem like that. I think we were kind of looking like one step ahead. Like I said, I think physically, mentally, we kind of knew what was going on. Our press was really good, and we looked like we wanted to be there, which is nice. Um, so yeah, I was really encouraged by that game. That's a pretty good team.
That was a they're a great team. And I started to get worried in the second half because they had us pinned back pretty well at first until that foul. Oh man, I was getting nervous. I'm like, guys, don't get complacent. I know we're up. And Seattle they have a fantastic defense. We know that. And they were putting everything they had there.
They were coming after us a little bit, and it was kind of like I gotta look away because you kind of feel like you know what's gonna happen.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we hung in there and we actually got one back not too far after that. Brilliant. I think he scored his second goal this year, or second goal for us at least. So that
Yeah,
was really
second
cool.
one.
I really like him. I think he's pretty cool.
He's just, he's a wonderful guy, just a real gentleman. And every single interaction I've had with him, he's always so polite. He's so well spoken. I know one of the reporters in the locker room even had asked him, "Hey, can I take a picture of you with the man of the match guitar?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." He was posing. He's like, "How do you want me to pose here?" He's just a good guy and very, very talented, very committed to his position on the defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think there were some questions about him last year, but this year, for the most part, I mean, he's been, quite good. Like, um, I, I might even have him as, a top five center back in the league, to be honest. I mean, that's kind of how he's been playing.
I love that he and Rooney made MLS Team of the Week this week. That made me so happy to
Oh
see.
yeah,
Really
yeah.
well deserved because I like to see players that are maybe a little bit more in the background, a little more humble and quiet, really show up and be recognized for the hard work they put in.
Yeah, I think he's been on there a couple times this year, and so yeah, I like that too. So it's not just all the same guys, you know. Um, they actually show some recognition of guys really working hard.
It's great to see. And I loved on DC United's social media where they showed all the players arriving in their vehicles.
Oh yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
That was great. And I loved Fred's vehicle. I'm like, you are all of us.
What is like the Chrysler SUV or whatever?
The Pacifica. I'm like,
Oh
you know
yeah,
what?
yeah.
I'm a parent too, and I've got my SUV, and you know what? I have respect for that. I have so much respect.
Yeah, you saw Lucho with his fancy car, and then Fred with his yeah. I thought that was really good. I mean, the social media has been kind of killing it recently. Um,
Yeah, seriously, shout out to our girl.
yeah, I think they've been doing a lot of stuff like things that are like different, a lot of different like digital media things that, yeah, like, I mean, what really like on the mark. They're doing great. I think I shouted them out on Twitter too. Like, I think I guess we didn't even realize like what potentially the social media page could be until we started seeing some things that were different and like actually creative and not just like, oh, there's, the same old stuff.
Estacia, she's got such a great vision and a great drive. And I love that she's a team player and really letting other members of that digital media team kind of do their thing, like Jack. Jack Hazard, the graphic designer, who's doing all this incredible work and getting the most engaged posts just from things that are smart.
Yeah, it's nothing like they made like a feature length film, but like clever things and like original, digital media and stuff like that. They're kind of crushing it.
Yeah, I love it. So, mad shout out.
I mean, also like even the vibe on there has been a lot different and a lot better, and I think that
Mhm.
kind of goes hand in hand with like the players' vibes, the atmosphere like within the fans, and now we're on a winning streak and a clean sheet streak. Say that five times fast.
Oh, I
Um,
can't. I can't do
yeah,
it.
but it's all kind of really coming together, and so I think this is really honestly the right time to start, yeah, peaking. You see teams like LAFC and Atlanta, honestly, really kind of not sustaining their success.
Very, very true. And you know what? I'll take any and all success that DC United can grab.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, if we get a home game, um, I think we have a pretty good shot. I mean, in our conference, I don't think that there's anyone that is that much significantly better than us, right? So, um, I'm not sure that a lot of these teams above us will even make it past the first round necessarily, to be honest.
Hmm.
Um, the Revs, they started out terrible, but they had some really good success. And they're none of these teams are teams you would want to face, honestly. So we're gonna see, really.
I really want to see DC United get back to that point that we were at last season where teams were afraid to play at Audi Field. where just the thought of coming to Audi Field and playing us at home just crushed their mentality so utterly and completely. I want to see us get back to that because that was just an incredible feeling. Every single home match, even maybe we didn't win beautifully, but we came out there with that mentality, hey, this is our house, we're going to crush it. That's it.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, that I mean that's pretty critical, and I think with that atmosphere that we had from last year, like that's gonna be extremely hard to play. And to be honest, I mean, I could barely hear myself think. That's how loud it really was, and I wasn't even really in the supporter section, so it was really rocking.
Oh, I wasn't either. And I had to put the noise canceling little headphone things on my son because it was just too loud. Couldn't even speak.
Yeah, for sure. And I really want to have that experience again because the regular games usually don't get like that. I mean, obviously, but that stadium is so like intimate and so like I remember so it gets like really loud. And I remember even last year when we had that playoff game, there were people taking videos from like their apartments that were like, not that far away, but like they could hear us chanting inside their apartment. It was really funny. So yeah, I mean that's intimidating as anything.
That's amazing. And the best thing, every single person in that stadium was chanting.
Yeah, yeah, it was something different that I mean that's probably the loudest DC game I've ever been at, like regardless of where or when or what was going on. So yeah. But we should probably talk about a different incident that happened after the Seattle game.
There was a
Suppo
good incident during the game. So, no, they flew the United Front banner, which was incredible. We could see it from the press box. And then they also flew a really great Iron Front flag that was made by one of our DCU supporters. And his name is Douglas, and he's fantastic. And you know what? Security didn't come. They didn't take the banner and the flag away. They let them fly. To me, that was a really positive message, and I give
yeah,
the props to DC United for that.
yeah, I mean it was kind of unique. In yeah, like you said, no one confiscated anything. It wasn't really made a big deal about by anyone, but it was definitely front and center. Um, so yeah, I think it was well put on by the DCU supporters and kind of well respected, and boundaries were respected by the I guess the security people and the front office and everything. And you kind of saw it not really have any issues, and there was nothing that happened during the game or anything. So I mean, I thought it was well executed.
No, absolutely. It was nice to see that no one got banned, no one had any trouble. And I know I had talked to a few people prior to that match, and they were like, well, we're willing to accept, a ban if we have to. It's just something that needs to get done.
I'm not terribly surprised that no one got banned. I'm kind of surprised they didn't try to confiscate the the flags. I'm very curious about like what does this mean? Like, like because we've seen almost at every other stadium they've been confiscated and there's been issues and bannings and all this other stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of curious if that means there's a policy change that hasn't been communicated yet, or that the DCU front office, is kind of just going to stay out of it. I don't know.
And it's interesting. So this also comes on the heels of a meeting between the ISC and MLS about this subject. So I'm wondering, same as you are, if maybe there's something that just hasn't been communicated yet.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the league is now going to try to like let it play out and see kind of what happens instead of trying to just to shut it down, because I think right now the outcomes that they want, they are not achieving by shutting it down, to be honest. I think that they're causing more problems for themselves, um, based on things like theoretical potential issues,
Hmm.
stuff like that, which are not unreasonable things to consider, but maybe those things would be better achieved by letting these just go and be fine, and they're there, and then the fans leave, and it's fine. Like it's just a message that they want to get out, and I think it's reasonable, and yeah, like nothing's nothing happened, and it's okay.
Absolutely. And I think that also kind of calls to point that, most people attending these matches are adults and are capable of rational behavior. And I say most people because I know we have something else we definitely are going to talk about.
Yeah, so an incident was reported, I think, around an hour after the game let out, on game day, that apparently a group of supporters or a single person was attacked by a supporters group, a DC United supporters group, not directly by the stadium, but a few blocks away, if I understand correctly. So yeah, I saw that the club did release a statement on it. There's definitely what we know now is that someone definitely was in the hospital and someone was definitely injured. We don't necessarily know how or who or what happened. So it's not necessarily useful to condemn or too much anyway. But yeah. So like, yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
So, of course, I never want to see anyone be injured. I never want to see anyone get hurt in any sort of situation surrounding a match. It's not what this is about. And I also feel that there is a level of self accountability that we need to take when we're going to matches. Like, you're an adult. We learned as children, you do not hurt people, you don't belittle them, you don't treat them poorly, and you especially don't assault them based on the clothes they're wearing. So, if this attack, and it's been coming out on Twitter that it was a woman that ended up being sent to the hospital. If this attack happened the way it's being portrayed, I mean, I really hope that whoever's responsible is prosecuted. Assault is never okay in any way, shape, or form. But I just hope it gives everyone pause to kind of think about, hey, we're out here to support our team and not to fight with each other. We're all adults. We don't do this. And my other kind of issue, and I experienced some of this yesterday on Twitter, is that this did happen outside the stadium. This did happen after the conclusion of the match when supporters had already left. The men on the field had absolutely nothing to do with this. And a lot of people are blaming DC United, blaming the front office, blaming whoever. They're coming after journalists. I put up my match report on Twitter and I immediately had someone saying, oh, you shouldn't be celebrating. Someone got sent to the hospital. It's like, it's a very interesting way to vent out anger, but you need to look at the responsible parties and let the investigation go. And of course, we all know it's not acceptable behavior.
Yeah, it's definitely I mean it's also hard because we don't know exactly what happened, and so there's not necessarily any point of being like, oh, these are the people responsible, definitely 100%. So
Right. You can't say it.
yeah, I mean I think what DCU has done right is they put up a statement, they're investigating with the police, and that's what they're responsible for doing. And so they are doing that. So yeah, I mean. I I was very quick to apologize to the supporters of Seattle. I mean, obviously I wasn't involved. I wasn't there, but just as another fan of DC United, I don't want our reputation to be this. And I think beyond the obvious fact that it's awful to hurt people, I think supporters or supporters groups that are engaging in this behavior are not supporters. They are doing damage to the club. They're doing damage to the community, and they're doing damage to other MLS fans. And I know that our front office isn't going to tolerate that. And so, yeah, I mean, we should not get the reputation that currently a lot of other, not a lot, but some of the other clubs have with away fans, and that I know our fans have experienced some similar things at other places, and we don't like it, obviously, because I mean, it's illegal, first of all, but also like it sucks and it's terrible, and you shouldn't do that to other people. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't really, I don't know. It's toxic. We don't need this.
No, 100%. And the experience we want to have when we are the away fans should be the experience that we strive to have for folks coming to Audi Field.
Yeah, and I think like not even necessarily related to this directly, but I think we should all want all the teams in MLS and all their supporters and everything to do well. Um, I mean, first of all, because it's the first division of soccer, and if most of us who are going to these games or care about these teams are relatively invested in American soccer in some way. I mean, if it's for the national team, if it's for the MLS club, if it's for the league, if it's for soccer here in any way, we should want the league to do well. We should want everyone to do well. So like this is really only hurting our club and the league and like which in turn hurts us even more because we're a single entity anyway. So, you know, yeah, I'm not really sure.
I think people forget that quite frequently too.
Yeah, I mean, it's important that all of the franchises do well for the league. And you can complain about it being single entity, you can talk about promotion relegation, but it's not the fact right now. We have a single entity with franchises, and if you care about MLS doing well, that's the fact. You should want all the franchises to do well.
No, I 100% agree with you, Ken. And it is unfortunate, and I hope that whoever was injured comes out of it quickly with no lasting effects.
Yeah, and I think what's also important is that they find out the truth of what happened. Um, I'm sure that there's cameras or something. Um, yeah, I mean, this is not what our community should be known for. And I think, when I go to another stadium, I don't feel scared to wear my jersey or chant DC United things that are, nice, obviously, but like I shouldn't feel that, and neither should anyone who comes here, especially with a club like Seattle of all clubs that we've n not really had any issues with. Like the game wasn't dirty, like none of their supporters were doing anything to us, chanting anything rude, as far as
And
I
we
know.
won. And
Yeah,
we
and we won.
won.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
What more do you want, folks? What more do you
yeah,
want?
it's just it's very odd because of the opponent and like I don't know. You shouldn't do this to anyone, but like Seattle of all people,
Yeah,
it's the farthest you can possibly be away from us. Why are you antagonizing them?
they really have such a lovely fan base too.
Oh yeah, totally. Definitely like in terms of size, one of the bigger ones, and from everything that I've heard, and just from my perspective, I've never heard any issues with them or like them doing anything. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just want our community and our city and our franchise to be known for being welcoming, safe, especially safe, and yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. So, fingers crossed this situation comes to a quick resolution.
yeah. I'm sure they'll figure out everything, and yeah, I think it's important that we get the facts, and then we can go from there. But yeah, I don't know. Let's talk about, I guess, maybe a better subject, the Red Bulls game this Sunday. And yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. I'm gonna be there, and I think a lot of our supporters will be too.
It's very it's interesting because I know that the Red Bulls right now are in DC Hate Week coming up to our match.
Hmm.
Our social media manager over at MLS Female is also the New York Red Bulls beat reporter, so she made sure to give that a shout in her most recent article. But I know they're getting ready for us. What is your outlook on that match, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, they're not doing that well this season. They did just beat Philly at home, so they have that confidence. But honestly, like, they're not doing that well. They are doing a little bit better than us at home, so their home form is not terrible. So that's the one thing that's a tad concerning. But we lost to them this year. I think we're gonna want revenge for that. And I think we're on a good run of form. So I think we have the confidence, and I truly do believe that we're gonna take this one away.
Oh, I hope so. And our road form has been spectacular. And I think coming off this win too, we're going to be in a great mental space to go up there and get the work done.
Yeah, the only not disagreement, but like the only caveat is that it is a rivalry game, and we did have that Rooney red card, and the game was relatively heated. So a lot of these things kind of go out the window. Even when I was saying like their home form is good, like I don't know how much that matters considering how the rivalry is. Um, so I don't know.
Oh, you're going to have to take a lot of pictures, and I want to hear your cheers for DC down here in the district.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I'm gonna try to find one of the tailgates up there. I know the area pretty well, so yeah, I'll be out there. Hit me up on Twitter if you want to hang out, and I'll let you know if I'm at a tailgate or at a bar or whatever happens. Yeah,
It's going to be amazing. And then we bring it back home for FC Cincinnati,
yeah, we better
which,
win that.
oh my gosh. Though, it's MLS. It's MLS. Anything can happen. I hope the anything is that we put it away and win big time, but
If we lose to FC Cincinnati, we don't deserve anything.
are you going on record with that one, Ken?
I mean, if we lose to FC Cincinnati, we are not going to win MLS Cup. Come on now, like, how are we going to lose to the like one of the historically worst team? Not the worst, but I think in terms of maybe goal differential, I think they might be right now. They're minus 44. Like, we should be able to score a decent amount of goals on them. Like, they've have 6 wins. Yeah, like they look terrible.
Oh, I'm ready for that match, and then I'm really ready to see if we get this home playoff match.
Yeah, and I've also seen like a bunch of the FC Cincinnati players like on social media pretty much literally like say like I'm ready to say bye to Cincinnati. Like,
Oh,
yeah. So
ouch.
I mean it just doesn't seem well run. I mean it's very odd because they come in they come into the league with a coach from the USL days, fine. They fire him not too long into the season. They have a temporary coach, then they hire another coach. Seems weird they didn't just do that in the beginning, because that's when they were building the team, which you really want a long-term coach to be there for. So I think they have a lot of roster issues and a lot of organizational issues, I guess I'd say. Maybe these are their ways of fixing it, but it doesn't seem to be getting any better.
Oh my goodness. That's really sad to hear because it's exciting to see MLS expanding. However, when you have these kind of internal issues going on with teams and especially when the players are that dissatisfied, that just makes me sad.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you know, it is an expansion team, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. It sucks because of how many fans they have and how much they honestly, if they just kept the USL team, I think they would have been doing better, to be honest. Um,
Oh,
to be quite honest. And but I feel bad for their fans as well because they all want to go back to USL.
that's so sad.
Yeah, that's pretty
Oh,
bad.
that makes me so sad. Well, FC Cincinnati, hopefully next season will be better for you and things will get straightened out.
Yeah, and so yeah, we play them. We hopefully have a few playoff games and then maybe an MLS Cup run. I'm looking at the Western Conference right now, and I mean, obviously LAFC is really, really, really good. They've been kind of out of form recently, but
Three
I mean,
draws in a row.
yeah, it's kind of weird for how good they are. But yeah, I mean, honestly, even looking at the standings here, no one else really stands out as that good. If you look at the points, it's not directly comparable, obviously, because of they play more of their own conference. But the second place team is the Seattle Sounders, and we just beat them, and they have 50 points. And, if they were in our conference, 50 points would get them the fourth spot, not the second. So, I think there was a lot of talk about the Western Conference being a lot better this year, but I don't know. It seems like that might not be the actual truth.
And the season is long, burnout happens, people get tired, injuries happen. Kind of my only wish for playoffs is that we don't have to face down LAFC. I think we could do it without a doubt, but I just kind of hope that that doesn't come to pass.
Yeah, I really want to see LAFC and LA Galaxy face off in the playoffs because there's that LA Galaxy and LAFC, that
Old
rivalry,
spectacle,
and
yeah.
yeah, and LAFC struggles pretty hard against LA Galaxy so far anyway, and so that would be really really interesting because I could definitely see LA Galaxy taking them out of the playoffs, to be honest.
And you know what? I would be okay with that. That would be good. I know that my colleague Araceli is going to get mad at me, but I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I think so. I don't like either of them, so I mean, I enjoy watching LAFC. I think they're really fun to watch, but yeah, not really too particularly fond of them.
I
But
just don't want to play against them. And I would
no,
love
exactly.
to see Quincy up against Zlatan again.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, that would be pretty epic. But it's also possible that, I mean, I'm just looking at it right now, like the the Galaxy could, I mean, honestly, all these teams could fall out of the playoff race except for LAFC because the gap between second and eighth right now is only 6 points. So, yeah, like it could be possible that we see a little bit different than what we see right now because no one's, yeah, clinched playoffs. So.
Did you see there was a really great little video with all the cars at the four-way intersection? And they had like the Western Conference team crests on them.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That's funny.
That was pretty great.
I
It's true
mean,
though.
yeah, I think even some of the talk was about how Seattle needed those points to like really solidify their stuff, but I mean, they definitely came to try to win that game, and it was really nice that we were able to get our points and not have them, you know, really beat us at home.
That was very good.
But yeah, so I think we're good for this week. Is there anything else you wanted to chat about?
Just keep your eyes on my social media. And I'm losing my voice, friends, from all the yelling I've been doing for DC United. But keep your eyes on my social media at Sarah Collassi on Twitter or the same on Instagram. I have some fun projects in the works. Can't really talk about them publicly yet, but keep your eyes right there. And also keep an eye on MLS Female for all your fresh features, all your playoff news. And Ken, thanks again for having me on. I missed you, man.
Yeah, totally. I've been kind of away for a little bit and dealing with some stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's great to do this again. I kind of forgot, how fun it was to actually be able to talk about DC United and also talk about them in a positive way. That's nice.
Yes.
That's very
Isn't that
nice.
best feeling ever?
The last thing I wanted to mention real quick is you mentioned that you were getting some retweets and some hate on your post for the post match, but I think you need to tell everyone what the name of this person was.
Yeah, really interesting name. I had to read it twice. Someone named Tony Stank. So, yeah, that's great. Tony, if you're listening, you know, you're telling me a woman was hurt in this incident and you just went after an outlet full of female journalists. So, thanks, man. Very cool. Much love to you. Thank you for retweeting my article, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Stank. It was very entertaining reading that. Yeah, I did a double take as well when I saw it. I'm like, Tony Stank? What the hell is that? But yeah, all right, cool. So let's wrap up for this week. We'll be back soon. Yeah, peace.